Do you believe that you can heal yourself? Too often we give our power away to something outside of ourselves, and rarely, if ever, trust and tap into our innate healing power and intuition. Everyone has this capability to heal in ways we never thought possible. It's your sovereign right to claim and have true health and lasting wellness. Now, here is the host of the Dr. Dolores Show, Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer.
Well, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in our wonderful universe. Welcome to the Dr. Dolores Show on Inspired Choices Network. I am Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, energy whisperer, and your host of this series that we are conducting over the holiday season. For those of us who are empaths, the holidays sometimes could be quite overwhelming and daunting. So I decided to put together a series, and we're actually in our second week of information that you could actually utilize for yourselves. And so we're talking this week about Empath's Holiday Haven, savoring authentic connection. For those of us who are empaths, intuitives, and highly sensitive people, we really relish that authenticity and the connection because we can feel it. We can feel when it's authentic and when it's not. It's that discerning part where you just know that something's just on or it's not. It feels good or it doesn't. It feels real or it doesn't feel real. So, in today's episode, we're going to just talk a little bit more about authentic connection. And just so you know, it's just not a buzzword, it's a powerful way to enhance your holiday experience. We're going to share some stories and some insights and give you some practical advice and tools today. And tune in to discover how to create meaningful moments in nurturing your relationships during this festive season. We'll give you some tips as to, creating your own traditions and making things um, more real and authentic for you. So just welcome everybody. And I know we have a couple of guests in the audience today. So welcome to you as well. Excited to have you. So when we talk about authentic connection, it's the genuine, sincere, real bond between individuals. It involves being true to oneself and others, expressing one's thoughts and feelings openly, and engaging in honest and meaningful interactions. Something to think about because to me, that just seems what everybody should be wanting or desiring. Sometimes it's about that mindfulness approach to things. When you're an empath, we're highly attuned to the emotions and energy of others, so we like pick up things from everybody whether or not you want to or not. Sometimes it's just you're in this energetic matrix, I guess, and everything's flying around in ways you have no idea. Empaths also have the ability to understand and feel emotions of those around them, and often to an intense degree. You feel things so deeply, deeply more so than the average person. Okay, maybe you've been labeled as a child that, oh, you're way too sensitive, you're taking things too difficult, or you're making it more harder than it has to be. Well, sometimes when people do those things, they just are not aware. There's no self-awareness within themselves. So you need to take that in consideration as well, instead of reacting sometimes to things. We as empaths pick up on subtle cues, nonverbal signs, and the overall emotional atmosphere of where we're at. How often have you stepped into the room and you could feel what has happened there before? Because that energy or that resonance or whatever that is, if it's debris, energetic fallout or whatever, is still there, and we feel that. without this heightened sensitivity allows us empaths to become compassionate listeners and communicators, and we're more likely to understand and to relate with the feelings of others. Um, it's also being an empath, it's like the ability to connect with others on a very deep level, but a very personal and intimate level as well. So, when we are in this moment and are wanting to have that authentic connection, sometimes, there's a fine line of what you're going to share with people and what you're not going to share with people. It's about, okay, how it, it's like a double-edged sword. Let me back up a little bit. It's like when you don't want to just spew out everything that you're going to share, but the thing is like allow yourself to share when it is aligned with who you are, but also aligned with what the person may need to hear. So the key piece to that is to really is the discernment. And so the discernment part is like when you're able to tap into your heart space, this part of your body, and not be in your head, this part, it's like you could speak from your heart, and it's like whatever you need to say will be the right thing. And maybe it's a story you need to share that you didn't even think about, that it's just going to be streaming right through you. So, I'm going to share something a little bit authentic. I lived my life on purpose and in the present moment. And, you know, yes, we all experience bumps in the road. And, I think it's all our perception of what these bumps are. So a lot of people know that I am still involved in the clinical setting. I am a nurse practitioner. I assist in surgical procedures. And I got word yesterday that one contract that I had with an organization, and there's been a history of this organization for well over 30 years, but the contract was probably within the last 6 years, that they were going to be ending the contract coming this January. They gave us our 30-day notice. And I was like, well, that's interesting because I felt for a long time that this was no longer aligned where I needed to be. And I was looking for the appropriate time to, what they say, exit stage left. And the universe presented that to me. So, yes, it's going to be different. And yes, I am looking forward to the upgrade that I'm going to be receiving from the universe, because trust me, when things happen and there's bumps in the road, sometimes it's an opportunity for us to get out of our way so the universe can provide something for us that is more aligned and on the pathway of where we are going. It's almost like energetically, we have done what we needed to do at that particular point, but what is being removed from us is no longer energetically aligned and is being removed energetically. So something that is more aligned to who you are and where you're going is going to manifest. So I'm so very excited about this because a lot of times people think, oh my God, woe is me, I'm going down the pity party or whatever. And it's not the case. I look at it from this perspective that everything is happening for me, not to me. Okay. That's one thing that I'm going to invite people to embrace. And also to know that when it is time sometimes to leave, we just hang on to things because out of fear, out of not wanting to change or thinking that it can't change, we get stuck. So it's about unstucking ourselves so we can move forward. So I just wanted to share that because I'm being authentic with you right now and sharing that because I know there is somebody who is going to appreciate this and gain wisdom from this as well. So I invite you, when things kind of come into your life, just you can react and respond, or you could just contemplate and respond, or just say, okay, I'm getting upgraded, and just get out of your own way and allow the universe to point you in the direction that you need to go and to open up the doors. So, as a holiday gift to you, I'm going to leave that with you because we're talking about authenticity. So, what I'm also saying too is that when you're in authentic mode, it's like you're aligning with your soul to create the changes or what you need to experience for yourself. It's about creating from a place of love, joy, and abundance versus a place of lack, fear, and stress. Okay. Or trying to make something happen. It's like going into being mode versus doing mode. Being in your present moment, in your present body versus trying to be in your head and figure out what your next move is. Sometimes there's nothing to figure out. We just need to allow things to flow to us and come to us. So, with that in mind, I just invite you to just when things are a little wonky in your world or things are happening in ways that you thought were not supposed to happen, or you got surprised or blindsided by something, I just invite you to just pull yourself back and just say, you know what? I'm going to try something different instead of going down the rabbit hole of fear, because you don't want to be creating from a fear spot. You want to be creating from an abundant spot. And just allow yourself to just be in the present moment, surround yourself with so much love and appreciation and validation for who you are that you're able to move forward and create out of love, out of abundance, and out of appreciation and joy. Something to think about. I know I kind of went off on a tangent here, but I really feel that this is so important to remember. Being authentic is, I think it's so essential and so in alignment with who you are on a soul's level that this is your inner perfection shining through, you know. It's something that is so important for us individually. And as we continue to move forward on our paths, it's going to reward us in ways you have no idea. Okay. We are actually jumping timelines right now. Okay. So maybe many people are experiencing situations in their life where all of a sudden it seems like everything is falling apart. And sometimes when things are falling apart, they're actually falling into place because it's removing all this stuff that is no longer in alignment with who you are on an energetic point. Okay. So the holidays sometimes are times when a lot of things happen. It brings up everything to a head, so to say. And, for some people, it's like playing whack-a-mole at the fair. And for those who don't know what that fair game is, it's like the mole comes up, you have a mallet and you're whacking, and a mole comes up in another hole, you're whacking, 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 whacking. And it's like instead of being in the present moment and responding, you're reacting. So I invite you just to take a breath and just pull yourself back and know that if this is something that you need to maybe even look at a little better, it might be something to, embrace and try something different. I feel that if you're able to go down that path, you're going to be pleasantly surprised at some of the magical things that are going to happen for you easily, effortlessly, and with a lot of grace. So you've been listening to the Dr. Dolores Show. I'm Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer. And we're on Inspired Choices Network, and we are talking about savoring authentic connection. So when we come back, we'll share some more. So see you when we come back.
Do you trust your instincts? Many of us don't. Yet this is the key to connecting to your innate healer within and your intuition. Tune in to the Dr. Dolores Show with nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer, Dr. Dolores Fazzino, to receive insights and tools to realign with your inner wisdom for lasting health and true wellness. Listen for the Dr. Dolores Show, Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, 1 p.m. Mountain, 12 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email become a host at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is the Dr. Dolores Show with Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also send an email to Dolores at drdoloresfazzino.com. Now, back to the program.
Well, welcome back, everybody. You're listening to the Dr. Dolores Show on Inspired Choices Network, and I'm Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer. And in our first segment, we were talking about the holidays and the holiday times, but also the empaths and my fellow people, resident empath included, and how to maneuver through the holiday season, because for many of us, it is such a minefield because we're so dialed in and tuned in ways you can't even imagine. So we're talking about authentic connection today. And in our last segment, we talked about being authentic, and I shared a story about myself and how it is important just to, when we're authentic and we're in our presence and in the moment, we say what is on our heart, and we say it with so much grace and ease that whoever is listening to is receiving the message. So, in this segment, we're going to talk about how empaths can bring more authenticity to themselves and those in their lives. Because a lot of times that's sometimes what we're craving is like the authentic connection and just the realness, because our barometers can monitor if something is real or something is not real. So I think the most important thing is like self-awareness. Just regularly check in with your emotions and your feelings. What's going on for you? What are you feeling? What are you sensing? Is this stuff that you're experiencing, is it really truly yours or not? Those are some questions to ask yourself instead of going into a mindset that everything is, I'm feeling everything, so it must be mine. I invite you to step back and just ponder that. Sometimes those things are not yours. It's just energetically you're picking them up. So this leads into setting really good boundaries, setting healthy boundaries. And I love this little tool that I share with a lot of my clients and my friends, especially those of us who are fellow empaths, intuitives, and highly sensitive people. It's about setting boundaries, but how do we do that in an energetic standpoint? One of the easiest ways to do that is just ask the universe. Because remember, we are sovereign beings. Nothing can come into our space unless we allow it. Oftentimes, things come into our space because on an unconscious level, maybe we're allowing it. And remember, I've said unconscious. So when this is happening to us, or we're experiencing that as we label it, it's happening to us, we're experiencing it. So it's about realizing that unconsciousness is coming into consciousness. Now we have the awareness, self-awareness, and we could do something about it. So we set a boundary. It's like, just say to the universe, it's as simple. If this is not my stuff, in the laws of the universe, it needs to remove itself immediately. And usually you'll feel a shift within yourself. Also, it's important to surround yourself with a lot of white light And also, ask the energy and the universe to protect you, and allow your space to be grounded, and also to allow yourself to walk in comfort, grace, and ease and protection. That easy. Um, the other thing is like grounding techniques. I'm a big proponent that, and I talk about this a lot on my shows, how people are in their head a lot and they're not in their physical body. Believe it or not, when you're in your head, you are not in the present moment. You are either living in the past or living in the future. You're trying to figure something out. You are disconnected actually from your body. When you are grounded and you are in your physical body, you are actually in your heart space. In addition, you are in the present moment, right here, right now. That's the difference. I have a grounding meditation that is free. You're welcome to go to my website. And my website is drdoloresfazzino.com. And there's a free guided meditation that I put together that allows you to be in the present moment. And this is an example of how you could ground yourself so that you could be right here, right now. Self-care is so essential. And we're going to talk more about that next week on another episode of the Empath's Holiday Haven. When you are taking care of self, you actually have more to give to others because you are filling your cup up first and you give from the overflow of that cup to others. And just to remember, self-care has gotten some bad rap that it's selfish to take care of yourself. Well, I call baloney on that, because if you don't take care of yourself first, what good are you going to be for anybody else? It is important that you need to take breaks and don't give yourself permission to step back from challenging and difficult situations. You don't have to respond. Just say, you know what, could I get back to you later on this? I just need some downtime to process this. And I'm looking at Sarah here. She's piped in. She's over there. I love what you said. Sometimes when things are falling apart, sometimes they are falling into place. Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what? We are so resistant to getting out of our own way. It's crazy. It's crazy making. I mean, and I'm highly guilty of that. And learning how to move through that and just allowing things, instead of my normal reaction would be to like totally like shut something down. No, it's just like keep it open, keep your heart open, keep in the flow of things. And Shira's also saying, I'm enjoying your free meditation. Thank you. And thank you to you as well. I appreciate that. So when you do self-care, you're making yourself a priority and you are worth it. You have to love yourself enough to make yourself a priority in your life. Nobody else is going to do it for you. This is so essential to becoming one of the first steps of becoming your own best friend. And we're going to talk about that somewhere down in another episode, because I have a program that's going to come out in regards to becoming your own best friend. So, journaling is another way of doing that, or anything that's creative. I love journaling. Journaling is like a creative form and it allows you to extend yourself. Doing art, anything that's going to allow you to channel what you're experiencing, into um, another medium, so to say. When you write, you're writing in a book, it's a journal, you're expressing it through a medium. When you're doing art, a lot of times you're drawing or coloring and you're expressing it through a palette and a piece of paper or anything else that you create on. This is something that's going to allow you to look at your thoughts and feelings and to allow those creative juices to come, because when you're being creative, you're actually tapping into your inner wisdom and you're getting insights. This is how our intuition sometimes talks to us. We're able to channel things out. For me, when I was a youngster, I channeled a lot of my emotion through music. I play the clarinet, and so that was my way of moving through that. Today, what I do is I enjoy just being out in nature and gardening and even cooking sometimes. It's like when you're in the flow of things, it's just like your intuition tells you how to make the meal. It's just like, okay, fine. I never thought of that, but let's put those combinations together. When you're open to that, you'd be surprised at what actually begins to flow through you. We talked about authentic communication, so important. It's being honest and transparent in your communication with others. Like I said, when you speak from your heart, you will always say the right thing. It's not about trying to figure out what you're going to say, because when you pop out of your head and just are, trying to figure out, you lose that essence of being in the present moment. When you're in the present moment and in your heart space and you speak from your heart, you will say the right things that you need to say, and sometimes in a better way than you could have ever imagined, because that allows you to connect with the other person. Emotional resilience is another way for empaths to enhance their authenticity. You know, um, we're all good and we all have tools. And I just invite you to, you know, tap into yourself and work on your self-healing and nurturance. You and your higher self will tell you what you need to do for your next steps to um, move through whatever emotions you are working through. And, as you start experiencing your emotions and working through them, your resilience is going to be um, expanded. And there's going to be things that will probably happen in the future that you will be able to move through with way more grace and ease. I kind of look at it this way. We have situations that we experience in our life, and sometimes they're lifetime lessons, okay? But you have to remember, every time it's almost like an upward spiral of this experience, okay? It's like as you move up the spiral, you get a different theme and variation of the same core issue. And, maybe it's something emotional that you keep experiencing, or like betrayal or something, but every time you go up the spiral, it's a different energetic component of it, and you're able to move through it a lot quicker with what you've gained from the wisdom below. And as you get to the top of it, it's like you're almost invincible, because it's like those things that are happening to you, you realize to the point that it's just like, okay, I get the idea of what this is. I learned so much from this. And this is the point where, okay, it's time for me to let it go and to allow it to um, transform, transmute, and transcend to wherever it needs to go. I think it's really important too. We're so into connecting with others now, but it's about establishing community. This is the new buzzword. And we've moved from the me type of modalities to the higher vibrating ones of we and community. So important to surround yourself with people who are going to support you and who are aligned with you energetically. And just know that as you're growing and evolving, your energy is changing. So people who are no longer vibrating at the energy that you are going to fall away. And just, sometimes it's a gift. It's allowing space to create something better coming in, maybe more people who are more energetically aligned to who you are and resonate more. And so when, things happen, people leave, people come and go, it's just realize that some people and situations are here for us for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And not to attach too much to that. Yes, grieve the loss of it moving on, but, know that something better is also coming too. Sometimes when we try to hang on too long, we miss opportunities. So just allow yourself to be in the flow. visualize going down a river. Okay, you're in a boat, you're going down the river. There's, rocks and rapids, and you're maneuvering through that. And it's just, put your oars up and try not to fight it. Just kind of go with it and allow the boat to carry you to where your next part of your journey is. It's like the definition of ease and grace versus, driving through life with the emergency brake on. How many times have we done that physically? I mean, you leave your emergency brake on, you're trying to move forward. So things to consider. And, we're getting ready to go on to our next break right now. I can't believe this segment is over, but you're listening to the Dr. Dolores Show. I'm Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and we're on Inspired Choices Network. And when we come back, we're going to talk more about the Empath's holiday haven and authentic, creating authentic connection. So stay tuned, and when we come back, we'll talk some more.
Do you trust your instincts? Many of us don't. Yet this is the key to connecting to your innate healer within and your intuition. Tune in to the Dr. Dolores Show with nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer, Dr. Dolores Fazzino, to receive insights and tools to realign with your inner wisdom for lasting health and true wellness. Listen for the Dr. Dolores Show, Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, 1 p.m. Mountain, 12 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
How wonderful would it be to carry your favorite Inspired Choices Network host with you throughout your day? Well, now you can. Inspired Choices Network now has its very own mobile app. Our free app offers live streaming shows, along with thousands of podcasts and TV episodes. Our shows cover a wide variety of topics. Whether you're waking up with us, carrying us through the day, and taking us to bed with you, we're always here for you to enjoy. We're easy to find. Just search for Inspired Choices Network in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store.
This is the Dr. Dolores Show with Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also send an email to Dolores at drdoloresfazzino.com. Now, back to the program.
Well, welcome back, everybody. You're listening to the Dr. Dolores Show. I'm Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer. And we're on the Inspired Choices Network. And we've been talking about Empath's Holiday Haven. And this segment, or this episode of this 4-part series that I've created over for the holidays, is on authentic connection. And so, in our first segment, we talked a little bit about authenticity and being real, and I shared some real moments from my life in that segment. And then this last segment, we talked about what empaths can do to create more authenticity for themselves. And what we're going to do is talk a little bit more about that, but also some things that you may be able to do for yourself and others that may create more of a shifting of traditions for the holidays. So, as we were talking about before the break, we talked about some of the things that empaths can do to create more authenticity in your life. So, the other thing, we talked about cultivating emotional resilience and connecting with like minded individuals, but mindful listening. How many of us have a tendency to, kind of be in a group and somebody will be talking and you kind of go off in another direction, or off in another direction, meaning that you're in your mind thinking about what I'm going to have for dinner tonight versus, being fully present right here, right now in the moment. It's about being able to listen and being fully present for that other person as they're sharing. Maybe leaning into what they're saying. Like I said, when you are in your body and you're in your heart space, it's almost like your heart has a brain, ears, a mouth, all here, because it's just like you're hearing, you're processing, everything gets processed through the heart as you communicate with another person. Did you know that you could be in the same room with somebody who doesn't even speak the language that you're speaking, but they could feel you? Okay. I had an interesting thing happen a long time ago. I was at a international event, and there we were divided into smaller groups, and many of the people did not speak the same language. But when you're able to connect heart to heart and say what you're saying to them, they replied in their language to you. And it was the most interesting experience because I said to them that I love them and I appreciate them. And in their language, they said, I could feel your appreciation and your love. I mean, that was the most trippiest thing. And this was like almost 20 years ago. So there is that energetic connection that people have that surpasses any language that a person may speak. Something to ponder. So when you're fully present with a person, you're listening, it's like everything's coming from the heart space. You're developing emotional intelligence. It's about understanding the emotions of yourself and others and tapping into that. You're embracing a vulnerability. Vulnerability is like a superpower, and it's about being brave enough and confident in yourself. And oftentimes, when you speak through your heart space, you have that. You're tapping into those components that are who you are. Embrace your vulnerability, like I said, but also learn to disengage. Learn to know when it's time to leave. Like time to leave a conversation. This is called self-care. Okay. A lot of times people will stay there and just, you know, take things or feel like that being fully present and a person is really, going off on them. Sometimes for your own well-being and self-care, it's okay to say, you know what, I need to stop right now. I need to remove myself from the situation. And could I get back to you at another time and place? This is called self-care. It's also called setting boundaries, and it's also called being self-aware. Okay. These are all important things because when we don't do that for ourselves, nobody else is going to do it for us. And you're worthy of putting yourself first and giving yourself these gifts so that you could be the best you. So, as we talk about moving forward and the holidays and stuff like that, last episode we talked about creating some new traditions. And, I think part of shaking up the culture or changing traditions is about implementing something new. If something, you know, because let's put it this way, we have traditions, and sometimes those traditions are energetically aligned to another time and place that may have a lot of, I'm going to say, baggage attached to it or energetic debris from another time and place, especially if maybe things were not so pleasant, or maybe they were. I don't know. But the thing is, it's like, it's about clearing out the old and bringing in the new. So, we talked last week about maybe creating what we call a gratitude jar. I like to label it an appreciation jar. It's like having everybody make a list of what they're appreciative for or of or for. And, set a time aside, maybe at a family gathering to take that jar out and have everybody share that. I think that is such a rich and delicious type of way to send some nice high vibrating energy into a situation. Or, maybe it might be another way of, you know, random acts of kindness day where everybody does something kind to somebody, a stranger maybe, Maybe they, go to the neighbors and, their yard is a mess and maybe they clean up the yard for them. Or, maybe you have somebody, a neighbor who is kind of housebound and doesn't get out too often. Maybe go and visit them and, bring some flowers or just leave something at the door for them, a meal or something. There's so many simple things that we could do that are such random acts of kindness. Even smiling when you're walking down the street and smiling at a stranger is a random act of kindness, and it doesn't cost you a thing. It's, I invite people, if they've never tried to do that, do it. It's a very heartwarming and interesting experiment to try. Okay. You will definitely, um, get some reactions and, people will shift and change. You'll be able to witness this right before your very eyes. The other thing you might have, people often say, I don't know what to get somebody for a gift or whatever. You know what? Make something. Your creativity will mean more to the person than you can imagine. A lot of times people are wanting experience-based gifts. Maybe you don't know what to get for somebody. Maybe they have everything they could have ever imagined. Maybe having an experience where you take them out to lunch or go down to a park where there's a garden and just, give them that experience of the time having time with you, but through experience. These things are precious. I had a friend of mine who recently took her entire family to Florida to go to Disney World. And, her grandchildren are probably ages, 5 to 14. Those kids I know will remember that for the rest of their lives because it was an experience that they got to have with their grandmother. How cool is that? I love this idea, and I think it's a real important thing too. A wishing tree, it's just like create a tree, maybe if you're in a work situation where everybody puts a wish on it, what they wish. And also it could be anything from personal to a universal thing, but have a wishing tree, which is, symbolic um, of what's to come. And then, maybe at a holiday party or something, have everybody pull one off and read that as a group, what the wishes are. You could even do that for your family as well. You have two trees, have your regular tree and your wishing tree, or maybe just make your wishing tree your holiday tree. Sounds pretty cool to me. I think this could be a real cool thing too. And lastly too is that many of us are so um, in different parts of the world. I think that when, our families are dispersed all over the place, and many of us, live in places that, are not native to where we grew up, but yet our family still remains there. Having a virtual celebration too is a really cool way. And, I want to say one of the gifts that kind of came out of the pandemic was the ability to connect internationally on such a level now than we had prior to COVID because the infrastructure was already there, but it was never utilized to the capacity that COVID brought it to its fruition, if you want to call it that. So you could pretty much be anywhere in the world at any time. And I think that's just kind of magical in just the bigger picture of things. So, we just talked about some things that you could do to create some new traditions around the holidays, especially to create more authentic connection. These things, I believe, will really um, touch people at a very deep level, which is so important. So we're going to be heading off to our next break. I can't believe it's been that quick. And you're listening to the Dr. Dolores Show. I'm Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer. And we're on the Inspired Choices Network. And when we come back, we're going to just wrap things up and talk more about being authentic, and especially for those lovely empathic people that are just like me. Talk to you when you get back.
Do you trust your instincts? Many of us don't. Yet this is the key to connecting to your innate healer within and your intuition. Tune in to the Dr. Dolores Show with nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer, Dr. Dolores Fazzino, to receive insights and tools to realign with your inner wisdom for lasting health and true wellness. Listen for the Dr. Dolores Show, Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, 1 p.m. Mountain, 12 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. This is the Dr. Dolores Show with Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also send an email to Dolores at drdoloresfazzino.com. Now, back to the program.
Well, welcome back, everybody. You're listening to the Dr. Dolores Show on Inspired Choices Network. And I'm Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer. And we have been talking about the Empath's Holiday Haven and about authenticity and creating more authentic moments in our lives, especially when we're empaths, when we feel things at a deep level and really strive and thrive for authenticity. Just some of the things that I want to just, circle back and just really drive home for you. The important things to remember about being authentic is setting boundaries, being self-aware to set the boundaries, having authentic communication, keeping it real, speaking from your heart space. It's like I was saying, it's like from your heart space, this is where your ears, your thoughts, and your feelings all come through. Everything comes through this space when you are in the present moment. So when you speak from your heart, you'll be in the present moment. You'll always say the right thing. Importance of self-care. Remember to take care of yourself first. Make yourself a priority. You are worth it. You have to. And you know what? It's an essential part of taking care of you, putting yourself first. And, the worthiness part, you are worthy of that. And if you doubt that, I invite you to dig a little deeper as to why that is so. Because maybe there's some gold nuggets that you need to excavate in your own personal archaeological dig so you could embrace those, heal whatever needs to be healed, integrate that in, and actually allow yourself to become more complete and whole when you take your parts back. It's very shamanistic. Cultivating emotional resilience is important as well. You have the capability of being much more than sometimes we give ourselves credit for. And your emotional resilience is a testament of your life and your life's work and your experiences. So never underestimate that. You are highly resilient. If you have survived what you have survived throughout your life, give yourself some credit. You have more resilience than you know. So next week, we continue on our series on the Empath's Holiday Haven. And we're going to talk more about soul nurturance with self-care. So this is the perfect segue into our next episode. And let me just read you something from what I have for the next show. The holidays can be a magical time of the year filled with joy, love, and togetherness. However, for empaths and highly sensitive people, this season can also bring overwhelming emotions, stress, and exhaustion. In episode 3 of Empath's Holiday Haven on the Dr. Dolores Show, we're going to guide you through the transformative art of self-care, specifically designed to nourish your soul during the holiday whirlwind. And sometimes it is a whirlwind. And I find it's very challenging to be in the holidays because so much stuff is happening. Oh my gosh, it's just like holiday parties, festivities. I know that I went to an event last night and I just was dialed in and tuned in and connected with people. And when I felt like it was time to leave, I gave myself permission. Okay, I feel complete here. I think I'm going to leave, and gracefully did that without feeling guilty, shame, or whatever. We're also going to talk about, I'm just going to add more. As empaths, you possess a unique gift, an extraordinary ability to absorb and connect with the emotions of others. While this gift allows you to be incredibly compassionate and intuitive, it can also leave you feeling drained and emotionally burdened, especially during the holidays. But fear not, for we are here to help you unlock the secrets of self-care, a vital practice that empowers you to maintain balance and stay rejuvenated through this bustling season and actually any time of the year. We're going to share actionable self-care techniques tailored explicitly for empaths and highly sensitive people, and we are going to offer a wide range of strategies, from grounding exercises to help you find more emotional center to establishing healthy boundaries that protect your energy and well-being. And these self practices just are not simply routines, they are transformative tools that can empower you to navigate the holiday chaos with grace and serenity and ease. So stay tuned next week for this amazing episode. So, as we bring this segment to the close, I just want people to start believing that things can be different. They are. Every day you start as a new person with a clean slate. It's about choosing. It's about choosing yourself and putting yourself first. It's about loving yourself enough to put yourself first. And it's about appreciating everything that you've experienced, because who you are right now in this moment is a culmination of everything and every experience that you've had, whether we label them positive or negative. You are I want to say the end product of everything you've experienced at this time, which is true. I mean, it's not a bad thing. It's just like, look at where you're at right now. And maybe you're not liking where you're at. And I'm going to say, and that's okay. Just know that in this moment, by what you say to yourself and what you do, has the power to create a different outcome. Okay. Sometimes it's just as simple as flipping the switch. Be mindful of what you say to yourself. You have the capability through your mind and through your thoughts to change things. It's about flipping a switch. So watch that self-talk, be kind to yourself, love yourself, put yourself first, and know that you are worth it. So thank you for taking the time to listen. I'm wishing you the most happiest of holiday seasons, whether you experience Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, or any other holiday that offers during this time. I just wish you the best to you and yours, and know that you are worth it. And when you step into your power and embrace that, you're going to be unstoppable, and things are just going to move with ease and grace and flow in ways you never thought could be possible. When we take off our blinders, remove our limitations and our resistance, we free ourselves so we're able to move in the directions of our choice. Take care, happy holidays, and we'll see you next week. week.
Thank you for listening to the Dr. Dolores Show. Dr. Dolores returns Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, 1 p.m. Mountain, 12 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. Until then, remember to be kind to yourself and create your best life. You are worth it.